Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of YMTGT Taps. I'm Joey Pasco.
And I'm Big Head Joe, and I am starting right off with some big news. I'm happy to say that YMTG Taps is proudly sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. Use promo code YO5 to get 5% off your next order. You hear that? We're sponsored again. Isn't that cool? We're real excited about being at Cool Stuff Inc.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
John Medina's there. Mike Flores is there. It's like a family reunion, you know?
It is.
So
the guys at the Magic Mike's crew, Evan Irwin, Ruben Bressler, Aaron Campbell.
Everyone's around, and it's really exciting.
It's where the cool kids hang out.
Yeah, it's where all the cool kids go, and we're cool kids, and we have cool stuff.
Well, we're not cool yet, but if we hang out with them long enough, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I need to get some more ink, though. I don't have that
yeah,
much.
some cool ink stuff. So anyway, we have a lot to talk about this week. Our big topics are going to be War of the Spark. We got some more information about that. And, of course, the announcement that we were looking forward to, Modern Horizons, was announced last week, and I'm about as excited as you could possibly get without having seen the majority of the set.
I'll say this. Honestly, I'm not super excited because I don't play Modern, but I'm excited to play it in Limited. So there you go.
I think we'll make a Modern player of you yet at some point.
We'll see. I don't know. I'll tell you this. Modern to me, this is what Modern is to me. Hey, remember all those decks you've always hated over the years? Here they all are. I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. It's like, remember being miserable playing Standard when Splinter Twin was legal? I guess Splinter Twin's banned, but we'll get into that later.
These are not the same decks from Standard. You need to look at Modern a little more closely. Like, yeah, there's some.
I've played a decent amount of Modern. You know, I've played quite a bit of Modern. But anyway, regardless, there is a big Modern event this Saturday, and I want to talk about it real quick. The Hunter Burton Open, the Hunter Burton Memorial Open 2019 is this Saturday, 10 a.m. In Hearst at the something or another convention center. I don't have the information here, but you can go to hunterburtonmemorialopen.com and get it on your computer screen, so you can type it into Google Maps and get there. But there's a $10,000 Modern Open at 10 a.m. on Saturday, and 6 and 2 makes day 2. Sunday, there's a $5,000 Standard Open. It's a tribute to Texas Magic at 9 a.m. The event I'm most excited for on Sunday is the Zanman Special Chaos Sealed, which is 2 p.m. It's a $100 entry. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to play in it because Zanman loved Sealed, and I love Sealed, and I'm going to represent Zanman's memory in this event because there's no way I can miss it, you know?
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you're going to be able to go.
I'm going to go Sunday. I have no idea how I'm getting there. I'm going to ask one of my buddies, see if they'll give me a ride, because it's all the way in Hearst. It's hard for me to get to Hearst.
I don't know where Hearst is. I assume it's in Texas.
It's like almost in Fort Worth, and I'm in Dallas.
Okay.
Which, if you've heard me complain over the years about trying to get to the Dallas Opens that are in Fort Worth, it's like nearly impossible for me on my own without a ride.
It's like 30 minutes difference, something like that. Does that seem about right? Okay.
It's about that. But it's the mass transit issue. I don't drive, you know.
Right.
You know, but a lot of people might not know that. So it's about mass transit, and the TRE, which is the main line between Fort Worth and Dallas, doesn't run on Sundays for some reason, which is really frustrating.
You just have to go Saturday and sleep outside or something.
Something like that. I think I can get a ride. But I plan on playing in the Zanman Special Chaos Sealed. If you're going to be around and you think you're going to do terrible day 1 or aren't going to play day 1, you should come and play in that because it'll be a lot of fun. But I can't make it Saturday. I have to work Saturday. Enough people already asked off Saturday. So I was just like, okay, I'll just go on Sunday, because I'm not going to play in the main event anyway, you know?
Right.
But it'll be a lot of fun, and you should go check it out. And if you can't make it and you still want to make a donation, there are ways you can go on the website, and there are a lot of links to make a donation to help raise awareness about suicide and suicide prevention. So it's a great cause. It's a great weekend, and it was Jeff's love, and it's really important to see
kind
this
of
event.
Like a passion project for Jeff beyond his other passion projects like the Texas Guild Mages.
Yeah, his passion was magic, in general, and this event is about Hunter. This event isn't about Jeff, and I'm sure there will be plenty of things that are about Jeff, and I want to make sure, I really want to see this event not lose focus. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And
because obviously it's a huge loss to the event itself that Jeff's gone.
Right.
But Jeff would not want to see this event turn into an event about him.
Right.
Because this was created to be about Hunter and about suicide awareness and suicide prevention. So I am still going to, go to the part of the event that is a tribute to the Zan Man, but ultimately this event is about Hunter. And but anyway, I hope something is developed that could properly memorialize Jeff. And I'm hoping I want to try to push for Wizards to make a Planeswalker card.
Oh, that would be cool.
Of Jeff.
Yeah.
But this is a whole other conversation for another time. Already losing sight of the goals today.
But you're bridging the gap here, because if you're bringing up Wizards making Planeswalker cards, how can we not just jump right into the discussion about War of the Spark?
You underestimate me. There are a lot of ways. But let's jump right into War of the Spark, yes?
Right, so the speculation that we heard, that there were going to be a ton of Planeswalkers in the set. Turns out it was right. There are 36 Planeswalkers in the set. And
confirmed.
There are confirmed 36 Planeswalkers in the set, which is at least 31 more than any other set.
Right.
I mean, I don't think there's ever been a set with more than 5. Most sets don't even have that many, but you get like the core set kind of thing usually has one of each color. But yeah, so that's a lot of Planeswalkers, and it's also guaranteed each pack. Now, this is, I know, a question you have, but each booster pack in paper and presumably on Magic Online are seeded with one Planeswalker per pack. So you're guaranteed a Planeswalker in every pack. Now, you were questioning whether or not that applied to arena packs, which obviously have fewer cards. In fact, I don't even know how many cards are in an arena pack. 8? I don't ever look at anything other than the rare.
I think it's 8. So you get 1 rare, 2 uncommons, and 5 commons.
That sounds right, yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to assume that the Planeswalkers are in those packs also, because I mean, arena's their big thing, and they're trying to sell this set with this particular kind of I could say gimmick, I guess. And why would they not apply that to arena as well?
Well, they'll apply it to the draft packs, because that's just how the packs are normally.
Yeah, draft packs are full packs.
Just like, the Dominaria packs, if you play Dominaria Limited, each have a legendary creature in them. But I don't remember if they, and there's no way to really know. There's nowhere it's written that Dominaria packs did also the prize packs also included at least one legendary creature.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I know, they're obviously, if all the Planeswalkers are rares, which we don't know that yet, then they would definitely be represented in the rares. But would there be a separate slot? I don't think. Honestly, I don't think there would be.
I kind of feel like they're going to be. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be distributed across all rarities, because I don't think you can have 36 Planeswalkers in a set and have them all be, well, they can't all be mythic, and I don't think they can all be rares. Like, that seems like it takes away more than, it takes away a lot of room for putting other rares in the set, right? Like, if you have a card that's not a Planeswalker and it feels like it needs to be rare or mythic, and you're like, well, we don't have any slots because 36 Planeswalkers. So I kind of feel like this set's going to be really interesting. I think the Planeswalker design is going to be really interesting, because they can't go by their usual formula, and they've they've got 36 slots to fill. And so I think we're going to get some things. And I think we kind of touched on this last episode where maybe it's, a 2 casting cost planeswalker that -1 to destroy an enchantment or artifact or something. And maybe that's all it does. Right. I mean, I don't know, something small.
One ability planeswalker that the art box would be lovely if they stretch it out all the way.
That would be. Maybe they just have to make the ability really complicated, really wordy.
So Stephen Marshall, former co-host, still technically co-host of YMTG Taps, but no longer recording with us, posed a question on Twitter today, and he's been a little more active on Twitter lately, I've noticed, about Magic, which is cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like seeing more from him. I hope he keeps tweeting about Magic. But he was asking what rarity it would be safe to reprint Tybalt at, and I said common.
I mean, Tybalt gets a bad rap. I feel like, what do you want from a 2-mana planeswalker?
Right. What did you expect from a 2-mana planeswalker? More like
right. And I think that we need to keep that in mind for this set too, because I really don't think we're getting 36 planeswalkers and none of them are going to cost less than 3. There's gonna be somewhere a 2-mana planeswalker in
There's
this set.
probably gonna be a 1-mana planeswalker.
I think so too. I think they're gonna be spread across all colors, all rarities, all casting costs. Well, not all casting costs. Because you can only have 36 casting costs.
3 are black.
Well, we have a 1 casting cost planeswalker, a 2 casting cost planeswalker, a 36 casting cost planeswalker. They're Eldrazi planeswalker apparently. Yeah, that'll make Tron that much stronger in Modern because you only need all the Tron lands, like all 4 of each, to get close to casting them.
Easy peasy. Turn 3.
So anyway, I do think we're going to see a lot of variety in these planeswalkers, and
definitely.
I'm just so excited to see how they do it.
I'm excited for it too. I know some people. I think Ryan in particular, Ryan Gurmore, he says that he's not excited about it because he's not a big fan of planeswalkers. He understands people are, but there are people who don't just universally love the planeswalker card type. So,
I totally agree. I think to me, I'm sorry. If you had more to say, I just cut you off. So I kind of feel like I've gotten to a point where I sort of can identify with that. Like, I'm not in love with that card type, but only because it's gotten so stale. And this, to me, the reason it's exciting is because gives them an opportunity to really do some different things with it. So it's like, if you don't like planeswalkers, this is a set that I think has a lot of potential to give you something that you're more excited about. Right. I mean, it's like, what exactly? I guess it depends on what you don't like about planeswalkers. If you don't like the card frame, I think maybe you're out of luck. But but as far as like this idea that you can have what is essentially like an enchantment that can be attacked and has multiple abilities, like, isn't that kind of what it is? And I mean, I don't know what you don't like about it, but to me, the problem is just that the design has gotten stale, and I know for a fact that we're going to see some crazy things in the set. Even if they're not powerful, they're going to be interesting.
War of the Spark is the Magic set that is approaching the table of the guy sitting there with the sign that says, "Planeswalker design is getting boring, change my mind."
Yeah.
And another cool perk for War of the Spark is that pre-release kits will each have 2 promos. So that's pretty awesome. So you're going to have 2 foil promos. I think one is definitely a planeswalker and one is a rare from the set. So
yeah, it sounds about right. I mean,
pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And this is the set that leads into Mythic Championship London, right? Or the pre-release is the same weekend. Is that right?
Isn't that what we figured out, that it is
That's
the same weekend?
Yes, the same weekend. So I guess they're not legal for London yet.
Okay.
Because I guess what I was thinking was, is it possible that there's going to be, if there are planeswalkers that are going to impact Modern, it's possible someone could throw it in their deck and try it, at that
it's
event.
Definitely possible somebody could get a game loss for throwing it in their deck.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't think it's legal for the Mythic Championship. So we'll have to wait until, I guess, the next Mythic Championship to see how these impact different, I guess impact standard, because the next one after that is standard. But to see these on the the Mythic Championship stage in a constructed format. I know they're going to – I'm pretty sure that's the limited format, though. Like the limited format for Mythic Championship London is going to be War of the Spark, I'm pretty sure, right? Which I think is kind of part of the controversy because –
it would be especially silly if it wasn't.
Yeah, it's true. It would be terrible if it wasn't. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And I think that's part of the controversy is that people are like, well, how do we practice? Like, well, you don't. Like, right. You're not gonna know very much for very long. Like, it's gonna be there. It seems like Wizards is experimenting with things, and I appreciate it. I don't want to say I like it because some things I don't, but I appreciate that they're trying to do some different things. With a 36 Planeswalker set, that's big. But even the scheduling of these events where you've got, I mean, Mythic Championship London has a new Mulligan rule debuting, which we discussed last episode. In Modern, which is going to be the format that's going to most likely be able to break that Mulligan rule. So that's already a fascinating reason to watch. And then they're basically saying, we're going to release a set. We're going to make you play limited with a set that you aren't going to be able to get much practice with. Like if they do what they did last time with Ravnica Allegiance, where Arena and MTGO have pre-releases on Thursday prior to that weekend, then they're going to have, practice on Thursday and Friday, or Friday's the Pro Tour. Mythic Championship. So they're going to have practice on Thursday. It's going to be really interesting because you're going to say, all right, if you're good enough to play in this event, you need to be good enough to evaluate these cards very quickly. You're not going to be able to figure out the limited format that quickly. And I like that.
I prefer this to anything else. I prefer giving people exactly 0 days to test to any amount of testing beforehand, because I want to see the cream rise to the top, Yeah. There are people who will qualify for the Pro Tour off of all kinds of different formats. They just had a Pauper PPTQ or PTQ, didn't they?
I believe there was a big Pauper event in LA, right?
I think it was actually a PTQ.
I think that's right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's somebody who excels at Pauper. They might not be that good at Limited. Hey, guess what? It's time for you to put up or shut up, right?
Right.
So I like it. I like it a lot. And this is the thing. Magic the Gathering is evolving. It's evolving as a game. It's evolving as an e-sport. It's evolving as something as a competitive sport. Mm-hmm. And I think that things are changing. Change is scary, especially to us, but change is good. Change means they care. If stagnation is the worst thing that could ever happen, and
right, and it's the easiest thing for them to do
is to do nothing. Right?
Exactly.
It is, and for a game like Magic, it needs to evolve because we've seen what happens when Standard sits for 5 months, and doesn't change. Standard can get boring. Right. Standard has gotten so boring for me so many times over the years. And I like to see change. I'm the person who would advocate frequent bans and unbans just to shake things up. But I know that's extreme. So seeing them take these steps to keep things exciting and to keep change happening, to keep things in motion, I like it. So yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens with the London Mulligan. With Faithless Looting in there with the London Mulligan, a lot of people are complaining about that. I can't wait to see what happens, Hey, if Faithless Looting is overpowered, then I guess we're going to see an all Faithless Looting top 8. And hey, there we go.
Yep. So I guess we'll see. I think it's funny to hear you mention Faithless Looting because I guess that is the current hot topic as far as which card to ban. But before looting, people were always constantly talking about Ancient Stirrings and Mox Opal, and those haven't been banned yet. There was KCI, and that was banned. But It's funny because it was like the conversation was always Mox Opal and Ancient Stirrings, and then occasionally, like when KCI popped up, it's like KCI needs to be banned, KCI, and then they ban KCI, and now suddenly it's like, well, Faithless Looting. Like, what about these other two cards that everybody's complaining about? I kind of feel like, well, I don't want to go into a deep discussion about what should or shouldn't be banned, but at the moment, as of the banned and restricted announcement yesterday, nothing new has been banned. And I think that's the right call, because Modern is about to be shaken up, not only by the Mulligan rule, especially if it's put into effect, like if they actually do it. We know it's happening for the Mythic Championship London, but we don't know if it's going to go beyond that. But if it does, that's a shakeup. Just the kinds of decks that people build, or the way that people build their decks, is going to be different. So that's one thing. But then, of course, Modern Horizons. If you somehow didn't see this announcement, this was something that we were looking forward to. Wizard said, end of February, Modern players, you should be excited. We have an announcement. Speculation was a set for Modern players that was going direct to Modern, and that turned out to be correct. So Modern Horizons is a booster, a set, being released in boosters. I think 36 boosters in a box, kind of like the typical booster set, but it's going direct to Modern, so it's skipping Standard entirely. It's going to have a ton of new cards, and then it's going to have some reprints. But the twist, which I didn't expect, or I guess I had heard speculation, but I wasn't sure it was likely. All the reprints are cards that have not been in Modern before, so they're all pre-8th edition cards, theoretically. Mm-hmm. There is I guess a loophole where they could reprint Stoneforge Mystic, because Stoneforge Mystic has never been in Modern before because it was banned in the initial announcement of Modern as a format. So
that's pretty funny.
They could look at that initial Modern banned list and say, we're going to add, we can reprint some of these cards. I don't know why they'd do that necessarily. If they want to unban something, they can. So that seems a little bit silly, but I guess they could. It's a loophole they could take advantage of. I'm more excited to see what cards from pre-8th edition that they decided they want to introduce into the format. And
I really feel like people have been speculating a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like every podcast you've listened to in the past 2 weeks is my top 5 cards that I would like to see reprinted in Modern Horizons. So we're not really going to get into that sort of topic. But here's something I want to bring up, because people were freaking out, because we freak out about Faithless Looting not being banned, right, in Modern. And I think that's silly as anything, because we're going to have literally 249 new cards. 249 new cards in Modern in June. Right? 249 cards that have never been in the format before are going to hit Modern. And like 50 of them are going to be probably fairly powerful cards from the past that are going to beef Modern up considerably. Modern is going to be totally different in 3 months. So banning a card for 3 months is silly. I'm going to go out on a crazy limb here, because the one thing I haven't heard as much about is what's going to be unbanned. I don't think people are even looking at this. I think that with this new influx of cards, the power level of Modern is going to be crazy, and I think they're going to unban a number of cards. And
you have certain ones in mind, or?
I have a proposed banned list for Modern after Modern Horizons is released. Okay? Here's my banned list for Modern. Deathrite Shaman, Dig Through Time, Gitaxian Probe, Mental Misstep, Sensei's Divining Top, Skull Clamp, Treasure Cruise. That's it. 7 cards.
Okay.
Those are the cards that are banned in Legacy that are also currently banned in Modern. I say unban everything. Add these new cards to the format, unban everything, give people a couple months to go crazy. And then you can recreate the banned list, because you're basically creating a whole new format almost by adding that many cards, including powerful cards from the past. The 2 cards that they spoiled alone are crazy. I'm just going to read them real quick because I've got them up on the screen. Cabal Therapist 1 black for a 1/1 creature horror. It's a rare. It has Menace. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may sacrifice a creature. When you do, choose a non-land card name, then target player reveals their hand and discards all cards with that name. So Cabal Therapist is basically Cabal Therapy on a stick, right?
Yeah.
And I think that card's cool, and I kept, for a split second when I saw it, I was like, I don't remember Cabal Therapist having Menace. And I was like, oh, Cabal Therapy, that's a totally different card.
It's not a totally different card, but it is a different card.
Right. I was like, oh, okay. And then the other card we've had spoiled so far is Sarah the Benevolent. It's a 2 white. It's a legendary Planeswalker, Sarah, so there goes your idea that there won't be any Planeswalkers after War of the Spark, but I know what you're talking about going forward with Standard. Anyway, 4 loyalty when it enters, +2 creatures you control with flying, get +1/+1 until end of turn, meh. -3, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. I like. And then -6, you get an emblem with, if you control a creature, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. That's the second turn ultimate right there.
Yeah.
You can tick up to 6 and then -6 get the ultimate. So these are the type of power level cards we're going to be seeing, and that's just 2 out of 249 new cards. So Modern's gonna be different, and I know that the idea of, getting overworked about a set changing a format is usually a bit overdone. I feel like a lot of times we look at a new set for Standard and go, oh, Standard's gonna be so much different, and then it's like literally the same exact decks with like a new 4 of in it.
Right.
But this set is designed to do exactly what I think it's going to do. And that's shake Modern up in a big, big way.
Yeah, so it sounds like a lot of hyperbole, but I don't think it is. I think you're absolutely right. First of all, I don't hate your idea about unbanning basically everything that's not also banned in Legacy, for the exact reason that you're saying, where the format is going to change so much. This has never happened. We've never had a set like this. Every time a new set comes out, for Standard, let's say every time a new Standard legal set comes out, we get maybe 3 to 6 cards that see play in Modern. Right. If that, right. Like, we're lucky if Modern is able to get a card out of a Standard set. We have like Terramander from Ravnica Allegiance. You have Teferi from Dominaria. These are just some recent hits that have made it in Modern. But this is an entire set designed now, again, or just remember, this set isn't designed as its first priority to be a limited format. That just happens to be part of it. They made a set designed specifically for Modern, so every single card is meant to have some impact to Modern, whether it's a sideboard card, whether it's just something people want to try to consider. Maybe it's a card that's going to just help a certain strategy that's not been playable.
Maybe it's wheel and deal.
Right. I mean, you never know. Like, but that'll get you playing Modern.
Don't get me started.
But every single card is intended for Modern, and that's just, we've never had that. So this is a really big deal for the format. And like I said, I'm about as excited as you could get. I'm more excited for this than I am for War of the Spark. And I'm really excited for War of the Spark. Like, I don't, kind of like you said, a lot of times you get a Standard set and it doesn't have the impact you expect it to. Like, you get a couple new decks. Now, it hasn't been the case recently. I feel like, with the exception of a couple things where you have like Golgari turns into Sultai, and Is It Drake's is still apparently a deck if your name is LSV.
Yep.
But like, a lot of these decks did get some help from Ravnica Allegiance, and you get new archetypes. Anyway, going back to what you were saying, a lot of times the new Standard sets don't even have as huge an impact on Standard unless it's a rotation set, unless it's pushing other sets out. And, the format changes more, or as much as, if not more, from the cards leaving than the cards entering.
For sure.
But this is something where cards aren't leaving Modern. We're keeping everything we've got, and we've got all these new cards that are going to shake up a format that already traditionally has so many viable decks, and it's really more about metagaming than really, there being 5 top decks and that's it, 5 playable decks. There's like 20, 30 playable decks, and you can win a tournament one weekend and the next month that deck is completely hated out of the format. That's kind of rare. A lot of decks are more consistent than that, but you really have a format that allows you to play anything, and now we're going to have all these new cards, so I can't imagine it gets more homogenous. I imagine it's going to be less homogenous,
Let the brewers brew. Unban everything and let the brewers brew, and then you can always course correct, and you can ban a ton of things in a couple months if you have to.
The only thing about that is I kind of feel like maybe they should just let the set impact Modern first, and if they want to do another big shakeup, they can do something like that. Like, do they want to apply all the shakeup at one time? I mean, why
not? I don't know. I'm crazy. I'm like, why not do it all? Like, and this is the thing. If you were to do something like this, you give it a very, very heavy warning. Like, hey, we might wind up banning this stuff again in a couple months, but we want to see what you can do.
Right, and that's something that I've talked about for years from back when we had the podcast years ago. I love the idea of a banning, or like a kind of a what's the word? There's a word and I can't think of. Probationary. That's it. A probationary unban, where you say, hey, this is unbanned, but it's only unbanned for the next 3 months or 6 months, and then we're going to revisit it. So everybody knows that the card might just be back on the ban list in 6 months, so the value doesn't skyrocket.
Right, to just keep people from going wild speculating, and then backlash of things getting banned that people speculated on.
Right,
which that's not Wizards' fault, that's your fault, but it's not going to stop the backlash.
Right, exactly. And
sense doesn't stop the backlash. So,
and they said something in the most recent announcement, which was yesterday. Today's Tuesday. Yeah. About Nexus of Fate, and they were saying, they know there are a lot of people that are clamoring for Nexus of Fate to be banned in Standard, but they said there was I'm paraphrasing. They said Modern is a format that we sculpt using the banned list. Standard is not the format we want to be doing that with. Standard is usually new players' introduction into the game, into constructed Magic, or competitive constructed, and so they don't want to be banning cards in Standard. But Modern is a format that they want to sculpt with the ban list. So they're kind of saying, they're more willing to be aggressive with banning and unbanning. So I think, I think it's not a crazy idea. It's not an idea I don't like. I think the only reason I don't like it is the timing of it, because the format is about to get so much change right now, and I'm excited to see what Modern Horizons does. I don't want to also be like,
you don't want your idea of what Modern Horizons is to be muddied by the unbannings.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's Modern Horizons would have been great if Dredge didn't get Golgari Grave Troll back and then just dominate the format, right? And Modern Horizons kind of didn't matter because these unbans ended up making such an impact. I don't know that would happen, but I'm just saying I don't want it to be muddied. That's a great way to put it, like you said.
You want a clear idea of what impact it had. I get that totally. Now, if Wizards needs to stick to their word, though. If Wizards doesn't want to be shaping Standard with bannings, then you need to unban Rampaging Ferocidon. I don't know how many times I need to say it on this podcast.
But wait. They don't want to be shaping the format with the ban list. And unbanning is affecting the ban list. I think, I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you. I would like to see it in the format, but I don't think it's something that they want to do, because I think going back and forth with it in Standard, it's almost not worth the. But
it was banned before rotation, I think, wasn't it? And so
yeah, it was.
Since rotation, the reason, I think the card that Rampage, I don't remember what it was because I wasn't really playing, but whatever was working alongside Rampaging Ferocidon in the format is gone.
It was, I think, well, red was really good, or red black was really good. I wasn't playing as much standard then, but it was like Ramunap Ruins, and then the energy deck. So what they did, this was like a year and something ago. Maybe it wasn't even that long ago, but energy was like the top deck in standard, and they banned some energy cards, but they also decided that outside of energy, red would be too strong, so they were also going to ban some red cards so that red wouldn't be too strong, and then red still.
And now here we are, and mono red aggro couldn't win a tournament if you used deceptive means, and
it made top 8 of the Mythic Championship. It can't be that bad.
No way.
It totally
but
did.
But it wasn't just red. It was red with a splash, right?
So that's your argument.
Yeah.
If only we had Rampaging Ferocidon, Alex Majalathon would not have had to play Rootbound Crag.
There you go.
There you go.
You know.
That's right. But speaking of really cool performances in a tournament lately, I think we definitely have to mention Dana Fisher, who made top 8 of GPL. I'm not sorry, not top 8. That would be pretty impressive too.
That would be awesome. Looking forward to it, but
no, Dana Fisher made day 2 of a Grand Prix of GPLA in Modern, playing elves and dressed as Nissa like she tends to do. The youngest player ever to day 2 a Grand Prix. How old is she? 8?
She was 8 years old. It's written on the show notes. It's probably why you said top 8, because you saw 8 years.
No, I'm not looking at the show notes because
top 8 at 8 years old. That would be awesome. Unfortunately, she didn't finish in the money, but what an amazing performance! And I'm so glad that Dana finally answered the question posed by, well, it wasn't actually ICP. It was the joke Miracles video from SNL. Are children small or just far away? And Dana Fisher with a big performance at GPLA, and LA is pretty far from me, so there you go. That answers the question. Children are just far away. They are not small. Congratulations, Dana. I'm sorry for my obscure references.
She's like, what's Saturday Night Live? I think what's cool about this, not only because Dana has been kind of a mainstay of the GP circuit in the United States and North America. Like, she's gone to like a ton. She's been to more GPs than I've been to.
Probably me too. I've been to a decent amount, but probably still true. Yeah,
so she, like, her finish is impressive, not just because of the finish, or not just because she made day 2, but just the persistence at getting there. Like that, she's playing the deck she plays, and she just keeps going at that goal of making day 2, of being the youngest player ever to make day 2 of a Grand Prix. That was her goal, and she did it. So now I want to know what the next goal is, so we can like all cheer her on. The other cool thing, she did this with a deck that is not tier 1. Like, Elves is, again, as we were just discussing about Modern having like 30 playable decks, Elves is like down near the bottom of that list. You don't see Elves do well in Modern very often. And again, she might not have finished in the top 8, but making day 2 as an 8-year-old with a deck that is not as powerful as 20 some other decks that people tend to choose over that's impressive, and that's a perfect kind of deck that I think Modern Horizons is going to impact by adding a couple more elves or more options for the elves decks. So I think that's really cool.
I think a top 8 is on the horizon for 8-year-old Dana Fisher.
Very well put. It might not be in the modern. I don't know. The modern era. Yeah, that was bad. Anyway, so yeah, congrats to Dana. Really, really, really cool. And I think also kind of being a dad and having a daughter, I hope she wants to play Magic as much as Dana seems to enjoy Magic. And I'm like, that kind of thing is sort of inspiring to me, because I'm like, wow, that would be awesome if my daughter wants to play and wants to learn and wants to compete the way Dana does. I just think that's such an admirable trait in a kid, to be willing to learn this complicated game and be as persistent as Dana has. So props to Dana.
Yeah, no doubt. We do have a top 8 to talk about. We have the top 8, and this is coming from the Hipsters of the Coast Twitter account, because I sure didn't know where to do this research, so I did a Google search, and this is what came up. So
yeah, shout out
thanks,
to Hipsters of the Coast.
Yeah. So the top 8 players from preseason 2 of MTG Arena who are going to be invited to the Mythic Invitational, and this is pending as long as nobody's ruled ineligible. This is our top 8. These are the players that will be representing Arena at the Mythic Invitational. We have first place Tiago Saporito, second place Zachary Kine, third place we have Adverse S. I don't know who that is. They have 4 followers on Twitter, so they're following 4 people. They have 1 tweet. We have Teruya Kakume. Mm-hmm. We have Lucas Folly. We have Eduardo Annunziata. We have Andres Strasky, yep. And we have Alia Deschane. So congratulations to the top 8. I couldn't even sniff it. I was so busy with school, but I didn't even have a chance to attempt it. I finished it I think I finished it Diamond 2 this last season. I didn't even check to see my rewards until 4 days into March, so that's how busy I've been. But it's great, and so we have our top 8, and I'm excited to see what goes down and how they run, because this is going to be an arena event, right? So
yeah, I think so. Is this the duo standard, or is this the...
I think it is. I think this is the duo standard.
We have the Mythic Invitational. It's coming up at the end of March, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like 2.5 weeks away. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Exciting. I kind of didn't realize how soon it was going to be.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like I was telling you, we're scheduled to put out a new episode on the 27th, and then it happens on the 28th. So looks like we're going to have to fire up a second episode.
Yeah, if we'll give ourselves a 10-minute limit to talk about it, but hey, we'll give it a shot. Yeah. So have you been playing much Standard lately?
A little bit. Like I said, I've been really busy, but I just wrapped up my schoolwork. I'm currently on spring break. I also want to say that I got accepted to UNLV for anthropology, but I don't know what sort of scholarship stuff they're going to offer me yet. And I still have 2 more schools that are going to hopefully also accept me. I can't imagine why any school wouldn't accept me, frankly. I have almost a 4.0, and I'm about to graduate with Associate of Science, Mm-hmm. So I have grades. I have the grades. It's just a matter of who's going to give me the most.
Right. Financial.
I'm leaning towards staying here. If SMU, they have some full transfer scholarships. If I can snag one of those, I might just stay in Dallas, but I forget where I was going with that. But anyway, my point is I've been really busy with a lot of stuff, and I've just now had my spring break, so I got to play a little bit. I played Stephen Marshall's Mono White Boy list. Mm-hmm. It's Mono White Best of 1, but it sure looked like Mono White Boy when I saw it, like BOI, like Sk8er Boy by Avril Lavigne. So that's what it's called on my Arena account. It's Mono White Boy.
And Dana Fisher is like, who is Avril Lavigne?
Avril Lavigne just put out a new album. Dana needs to get with the times. But
I think I'm more thinking Avril Lavigne is this new artist, and I'm like, Avril Lavigne is at least it's got to be 12 years or something since she was popular. I don't know.
Actually, I think it was more like 19. Yeah, I think that song came out in 2000 or something.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. Anyway, back to White Sk8er Boy.
Don't go digging into Don't go digging into dates, man. You don't want to go there ever anymore for anything. I think Pulp Fiction's 25 years old this year.
Yes, because that's 1994. I remember that.
So there you go. Let's not dig any deeper.
That seems older. Sk8er Boy, a song in 2002.
2002, okay.
You were closer than I was. Wow. Anyway, back to the Mono White Boy deck.
Yes. So this deck is 21 drops. It's mono white. It doesn't splash for anything. It's strictly a best of 1 deck. I think we talked about it briefly.
We did, because that's the deck that I was having the most success with for a while myself. So I haven't changed the list a card, but I have stopped playing it as often because I've just wanted to play other things.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have a retraction to print here. last episode when I complained about Esper making me hate Magic. I should know better than to judge a deck when I'm playing subpar cards, when I know I'm knowingly playing subpar cards, because I built Esper with what I had, and what I had was a bunch of tapped lands and not enough shock lands or the check lands. So I was playing Esper with basically a turn behind constantly, and of course that made me hate Magic with a 3-color deck that was playing like all the guild gates as a mana base. I've gotten up to I'm one card short right now. I'm playing like the black-white. It's not the Orzhov Guildgate, but it's functionally the Orzhov Guildgate, whatever that's called, Forbidden Sanctuary or something. I need like one more Isolated Chapel, and I'll have the full mana base to Esper, and I've been on a tear with it and beat best of one.
Good.
I love it. It's so I'm an idiot. Esper is awesome, and yeah, it really is. Such a powerful deck when you can cast the spells. That's just, I know that sounds obvious, but
yes,
really, like, you have so many ways to catch up, even starting from behind. And Thought Erasure is amazing. Just being able to kick things off with a Thought Erasure makes me feel like most games that I do that, I feel like I win, because I know what to play around. As long as I don't get somehow varianced out of the game, it at least feels like I could win, right? Like maybe I get to the maybe they end up top decking something, and I'm like, well, they had it. But it's really a strong deck, and I still think it's one of the better decks in Standard. Now, I'm playing a best of one version, but I still think, which is just really not much different than the best of 3 version. It just plays like an extra Cry of the Carnarium and an extra Moment of Craving, like just a little bit lower to the ground, trying to make sure that I don't get run over. But
Cry of the Carnarium. Ugh, I hate that card.
Why? It destroys all your opponent's creatures.
Yeah, but I'm your opponent.
Speaking of which, though, you and I need to direct challenge each other on Arena. Like, I would like to play with you.
We have literally never done that yet. We've both been playing. We've been podcasting. We have literally never clicked that direct challenge button and actually played a game against each other over Arena in like 3 months.
And this is from 2 players who played games over the phone, because that was our only option in the past, right? Like,
now we have an option, and we're like, well, I don't know how we'd ever play Magic together anymore. Joey never answers the phone, so how do I get a game started with him?
I wonder when the last time we played a game over the phone was. It may have been like 2009 or something. But
I was going to say, it wasn't as long ago as it would sound like it would be, because we definitely did it at least once or twice for for nostalgia's sake.
Yeah.
I'm certain of it. I just don't know when exactly. But I haven't had a paper... Well, I actually have a paper Standard deck now, but I hadn't had one in a long time, so it was unlikely for us to do it. But I think we did it at least a couple times.
Yeah. We should do that. I mean, Kenny and I did it a couple times, but yeah, it's fun to be able to play with your friends, and we haven't even taken up that option on Arena.
And plus, with Discord chat integration, once we figure out what the hell Discord is, we'll be able to do that as well.
I'm not quite sure I tried to look into it a little bit more, but I think, and maybe I'm still misunderstanding it, or I'm missing some piece of information, but I think it's just, if you're in Discord chat, like, you can like click somebody's profile and it like opens Arena and direct challenges them or something like that. And I'm like, that's really not that big of a deal. Like, if I'm talking to somebody, I can just type their name in or copy paste it from a text message or something.
Yeah, but you have to type it exactly. And actually, it took me a long time to figure, because I did it with Ryan once or twice, and I was like, oh, it's case sensitive too. And like, and it was just so dumb. And I was like, okay, this is really hard. So maybe clicking on a name and being able to direct challenge that way is pretty sweet. Maybe if that's
I guess the implication is that you're hanging out in a Discord chat. So maybe when we're doing that more often for like our Patreon and our Discord with listeners, like that will actually be something that we will be excited to use. So you're right.
I can just imagine the amount of My Little Pony friendship is magic jokes I'm going to be making. Because Discord is John Delancey's character from the show, and he's kind of the bad guy of the show.
I'll trust you on all this.
Yeah.
On a kind of another cool, talking the topic of a cool feature. Recently, Card Hoarder actually announced a loan program, and I know
C-, Joe.
Yeah, that was
C- on that transition. That was about a C-, but
okay, how did you
go for it because I know you want to talk about it, and it is a really cool thing to talk about.
I think I'll probably want to talk about it more when I'm actually in it, but Card Hoarder has been like my go-to for Magic Online singles since I started. Or since I jumped back into playing online in like 2017. Yeah. So like I was always going there. I love. I feel like their site is nice and clean and easy to navigate, and they almost always have the cards I need in stock. I don't really have any issues, getting the cards I need. You can keep track of your entire collection, and that's like ridiculously helpful for me because I'm like, I need these cards. I'm like, do I have some of these cards? I might have some of these cards. I don't know because I'll have to log in on Magic Online to look. But Card Hoarder actually can keep track of your collection. And so you can just add a bunch of cards to your cart and then click a button that says remove owned, and it removes all the cards that you already own.
Oh, that's cool.
So usually how I use it is I copy paste a deck list, and you can just click remove owned. It removes all the cards you already own. It also shows you the number of cards that you already own. So like if you have, 1 or 2 copies of a card and you have 4 in your cart, it'll tell you, hey, you own 2 of these. I just think that's such a great feature just by itself. So anyway, they've announced another great option, and that's their loan program, which allows you to pay, I believe it's 3% of the loan amount per week. So if, for example, you were like, I want to play Modern. Dredge always scares me. I want to play it because why? I want to learn it and see if I can understand it better. You go to a website, find a Dredge list, you paste it in there, and one of the options now is you click their loan program, and it shows you, okay, the value of the cards you need are 160 tickets. So that'll cost you $475 a week or whatever it is. And you're like, it's fantastic because you say, oh, I'll pay $475 for a week and play Dredge. And if I don't like it, then I can just contact them and say, hey, I'm done with my cards and I'm done with the loan, or I want to pause. I think the idea is you pause your account when you're not borrowing anything, when you're not using it. I haven't gotten to that particular part of the experience, but yesterday when I added Dredge to my cart and then clicked the loan program thing and signed up for it, yes, that means I'm trying to play Dredge.
Wow.
That's what I got waitlisted. So the program is apparently so popular that it's like a 12 to 18 day wait list right now. So that's awesome that it's doing so well. It means to me that if it's this popular, it's going to be something that that's going to continue, unless for some reason it's not working well for Card Hoarder, if they're not able to sustain it. But from a player perspective, being able to try a deck before you buy it, that's kind of like the way I'm looking at this. Like It used to be, oh, I want to try this deck. I guess I have to buy it or borrow it in paper from somebody, or borrow it from somebody online, which I've never done, but I know people do that. It becomes a hassle where you're like trying to accumulate the cards so you can play a deck. And this is great because I can just pay, $5 a week or rent a deck for a week. If I decide I want to play it more, I can, pay another $5, and then I can maybe decide, you know what? Yeah, I do want this deck, and I'll just buy the cards. Or I'm glad I didn't buy the cards because I don't want to play this deck anymore. That's fantastic. So I will report back as to how the experience goes, because the part I'm questioning is the point when I'm done with the loan. How easy is it to just like say, okay, I'm done, here's the cards back, and can we just pause my account? Like, are they going to frown on this idea of me going, okay, pause it, and then 2 days later going, now I'd play this deck, and then then like, okay, pause it again. I don't know if that's like something that's going to be like a pain to do, or if it's just going to be like an easy, like, put your account on pause and then pick it back up when you're ready.
They send Frankie Four Fingers over to collect the rest of their money. The one like kind of downside based on what you're telling me that I can see, and just more of a warning to people getting involved in this program, is don't expect your deck to be ready on demand. Like if you have like a competitive event on Magic Online that you need to play in tomorrow, don't go, well, I'm just going to borrow from Card Hoarder because there's a wait list right now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be realistic and keep your expectations in reality.
Right.
This isn't an unlimited trove of free Magic cards. There is a limit. They don't. There's only so many cards, and they can only lend out so many decks at a time. Yeah. Apparently.
And this is something that they're working on. They may be able to improve it. Yeah. And they may not have that kind of thing
for sure
in a couple of months. And I didn't know about the 12 to 18 day thing. I only found out about it because I tweeted about it and Card Hoarder tweeted back at me. So their customer service is awesome, and their interaction with on social media, at least on Twitter, is great. I would suggest that maybe they mention it if they have some sort of idea of what the ETA is. Maybe mention that, like maybe put that into the verbiage of their, like, the process, because what I got to was something like, apply for the thing, and then you get an email saying, okay, you've been waitlisted. We'll contact you when your loan program application is ready for the next step or something. And I'm like, okay. I kind of was thinking maybe I'll get an email in about 5 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I'll get an email later today. Like, I don't know what that exactly means. I know what waitlisted means, but what's the wait, and so to find out it was 3 weeks, basically, 2 to 3 weeks, was a surprise, but I wasn't really concerned because I'm just trying a deck for fun anyway. I'm like, okay, well, I guess in 2 weeks or 3 weeks I'll get to play it. So it didn't really bother me, and I think it's great that it's working, that it's so popular. So just shout out to Card Hoarder for coming up with a really easy way to rent cards, because there are some other programs that are offering the same kind of idea of borrowing cards for playing on Magic Online. But when I'd look into it, it seemed like it was complicated. It was like, okay, you've been approved to only 30 tickets a month, and I guess if your account's in good standing after a certain amount of time, you can get up to 50, more. And I'm like, this is just too much. I'm not worried about all this. Like, I'm not trying to play a game outside of the game. Well, that's a meta game. But I'm not trying to figure all this out. It just didn't seem like it was as straightforward as Card Hoarders, which to me is like really obvious. How much do you want to borrow? Okay, it's 3% per week. Okay. Simple.
You're like, and the Sensei's divining top never stops spinning.
I don't know what you're getting at.
Inception, there. Anyway. Sorry.
Oh yeah. No, there we go. Okay, I didn't get the Inception reference, but the top, yeah. I think that's about it. You got any
spoilers?
Oops, we spoiled a 10-year-old movie. But yeah, got anything else you wanted to discuss?
Literally nothing. I think we actually, for once in our blessed lives, have made it all the way through our list of topics that we wanted to cover, and within our time limit. So, pretty impressed with us.
Congratulations.
Pat yourself on the back. Do the literal pat on the back that you do when people figuratively tell you to pat yourself on the back. But yeah, this Saturday is the Hunter Burton Memorial Open.
We'll link it in the show notes. Yep.
Yeah, it'll be links in the show notes to that. There'll be links to the loan program. There'll be links to the other stuff as well. I promise. So yeah, I mean that's really all we got for this week.
Awesome.
We're excited to be with Cool Stuff Inc., and I can't wait to see where that new partnership takes us.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Evan. You're awesome.
Shout out to Evan Irwin.
You know it, and it's pretty cool. And I also just want to quickly take a moment to shout out our past sponsors too. LegitMTG.com. Josh Sk8er has always been great to me. And, I was really pleased that he had us on for so long. And shout out to Star City Games, who had us before. It's really cool.
We can thank Evan Irwin for that one, too.
Yeah, no doubt, right? But, it's just cool to, be in different places at different times. It just feels fun. I don't know. I like it. I like the movement of it,
For sure.
Something about that. Yeah. I'm someone who likes to put down roots, but every once in a while pick up and move those roots. And I'm excited to see what putting our roots down at Cool Stuff Inc. is going to bring for us. So,
absolutely.
Rock and roll.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's everything. So until next time, we're YMTG Taps.
Make 'em have it.